Oha. Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitzerer? You water, he said. You water! What are you insinuating? What are you doing, frage ich mich da gerade. This is a flaming outrage. I have a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said. And so will I. Mr. Fairplay, you are effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker, and me, a very angry hatter, suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's... I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right, I protest too. About you, you rotten scoundrel. Order, order, order. This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. It's very hurtful, you know? My lord, if I may comment. Go ahead, Lord Van Zieks. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witness. My learned friend has seen it fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intended to. It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In your British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I know I was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify. I thought there was something fishy about that had from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The spectators in the public gallery they are in a complete frenzy. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord? You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony, in reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keeping pushing forward. Witness testimony. Refuting the accusation. We were the only two people up on that roof deck, dead or alive. I can swear to that. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. If you are so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I must say that on listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine how either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right, you see? We are innocent, I tell you. This is seine moves. Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? Eh? According to investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Ha! Well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust this thinking witch. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. Okay, cross-examination. Refuting the accusation. We were the only two people up on that roof deck, dead or alive, I can swear on that.
Hold it!
So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck. Absolutely not, Dickon. No question about it, he said none at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin, talking with this man here. Is this true, Mr. McGilded? Dear me, my lord, at the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately. That's an outright lie, without doubt you were engaged in. Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all? Ah! It's all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You do well to remember that. Ark! I saw you, with my own eyes! This is going so well. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed?
Hold it!
Well, it was at the final one of the omnibus, at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly. Is this some kind of a lark? Is this some kind of a joke, he said. Is that what this is? Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly. Are you fair dinkum, sir? Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. Danke für die Übersetzung, Lady First. I'd give you the key to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie! I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. Now, 'twas a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. 'Tis hardly surprising. Seeing things? Seeing things? I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point. You... Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other thief are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. This isn't a competition I should like to be involved in, really. In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man.
Hold it!
So, you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Oh, Limmer, no! Or not once, ever. He'd never met the man before, he said. Never! And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either. That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with makers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us has the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin. Excuse me, Mr. McGilded.
Excuse me.
Mr. McGilded? Yes, Counsel, what can I be doing for you? Did the witness' last statement give you pause for thought somehow? Not the remotest connection? Is that right now? I wonder. Is that right now? What are you insinuating now? Ah, Mr. Fairplay. It has been too long, has it? Eh? If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date. Ach ja, muss ja noch seine Schulden bezahlen. I beg your pardon. Hehe, you borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion. Extortion ist Ausbeutung, oder? Extortion. Erpressung. Well now, is it a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off on another. Ah! And young Mr. First. Me, sir? What do you want from me, with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about on your head. Is it one of your own creations, is it? Oh well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand? I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door. Hehe, the perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like its distinctive touch. Customers. Such as thrice-fired Mason. Ah! Oh. Okay. There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence before, my lord. Oh. Ah, this, you mean? I can't help thinking that the poor fella's head looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh. That's one of my heads. Hehe, aye, that it is. So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. Da haben wir die Connection hergestellt. The sort of customer, I'd wager, you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. Quarrel. Und wee ist klein. Streit. Okay, über die Einzigartigkeit der Waren. Oh, no sir, absolutely not sir. Also ich möchte mal den Hut sehen. Okay. Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see? Well, jetzt ist er selbst Ace Attorney oder was? I rest my case. You little weasel. Ah, he's better at this than I am. Ich wollte gerade sagen. Gosh. Mr. McGilded has certainly been through in his research, hasn't he? Der Ass-Kredithai. Please, don't let me little interruption hold up the proceedings. Headhunter awarded. Okay. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you, we couldn't possibly have opened it.
Hold it!
Are you quite certain about that the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute, that's what he said. Take a look for yourself, go on. You see? It's shut fast now, just like it was on the night. So it is, of course. A fella the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it, still and all. What? Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand. Ah, now you hold on there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind. Loudly. I shocked myself with it as it happened. This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First. Oh, I just meant to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see? But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Okay, jetzt weiß ich, was mit Broke Wind gemeint ist. Er hat gefurzt. Oh man. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as rope, I did. Danke für die Story. Are you expecting me to sentence you? Oh, no sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside that cabin of shame. Ah, da hat Gina was zu sagen, Lestrade.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade. It opens. The skylight. That is what we are talking about, right? All them skylights open, dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon. That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, You can't do it from inside, you mug. Oh! Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out my ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Was ist eulogizing? Eulogize. Preisen. Okay. Und Break Wind ist einfahren lassen, okay. Gut zu wissen. Mr. Stray, eulogizing the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't up off the boss and leg it. So what I did was, I used the skylight, opened the catch and jumped right through. What? Yeah, the catch for them skylight is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck. Das ist natürlich, das hilft unserem Fall. Bailiff! Climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify this witness' claims. Well, well, well. Ah! Oh, my head! See? Damn. Order! 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 So, it appears that the street girl's statement is quite true. I don't believe it. The skylight opens. And from the roof deck. Mr. Naruhodo! This could be the clue we've been looking for. Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So, the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? Gucken wir mal. examine. The Phoenix White omnibus. So the skylight was fastened shut before. But now the catch has been undone. We should be able to open it. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Wollen wir einfach mal den Omnibus präsentieren darauf, dass der darunter gefallen ist.
Objection!
Okay, das war's nicht. Schade, schade, Schokolade. Okay.
Hold it!
Proof. That's right, I demand to hear it. We came here to say what we saw. I tell you, not for this. But you call us both scheißers, brand us as criminals. You call us liars, that's what he means, and accuse of us of doing it. Scheißers, heißt es wirklich scheißers oder schissers? Beides irgendwie. Ich finde das Wort noch nicht mal. Okay, scheint so alt zu sein, dass es nicht gefunden wird. You call us liars, that's what he means, and accuse of us doing it. As it stands at the moment, there's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves now, is there? I believe we are in much of the same position as one another, here. Ah! If I don't crack this case soon, he'll crack his teeth. I wonder if these two men really were involved in some way. I couldn't say. I mean, I don't really know anything about them, do I? Although by the same token, I don't really know anything about Mr. McGilden either. It's so hard to know what to believe here. I think we should try to remember that it's evidence alone that can truly determine the outcome of the trial. Evidence. No one can argue against the decisive evidence, including the members of the jury. So you are saying that what we need now is to find a conclusive piece of evidence? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, precisely. We were the only two people on the roof deck, dead or alive. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time. I tell you, we couldn't possibly have opened it.
Objection!
Okay, das ist auch falsch. Lassen wir mal so, weil wir nicht gespeichert haben. What implications, Counsel? Nothing strikes me about it. Exactly, there's nothing striking about it. What does strike me is your propensity for being named, however. I need to clear my head and come at this again from a different angle. Einfach hier nochmal. So, you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Oh, Loom, no, not once, never. He'd never met the man before, he said. Never. And you, Mr. Thrice, had no prior dealing with the victim either. That's right, sir, it does not have much to do with which would make us, to be perfectly honest. I imagine not. You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentleman. That's right, this is about motive, and we had none. No, motive, And, well, that's not all, is it? The guy was shot.
Hold it!
But we know now that the skylight does in fact open. And what's more, the catch that secures it is found on the roof deck side. This is getting flaming onkers. This is getting absurd, he said. Completely absurd. That's right, neither of us even knew the skylight had a catch. If we didn't know, we couldn't have opened it. And if we didn't open it, we couldn't have kicked the fellow down. Please, where is this idea about kicking the victim through the skylight coming from? Whoever designed these carriages anyway, fancy not being able to open the skylight from the inside. What about breaking wind? Didn't they think about that? There's no point having a skyline if it can't spare your embarrassment, is there? We are really getting off topic here. If you actually have a point, pray, do enlighten the rest of us. I tell you what my point is. If you are so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? Vielleicht nochmal die ersten zwei. Oh, stopp.
Hold it!
So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck. He did not, Dickon. He said, none at all. Oh, but yes, of course, I remember seeing them both. Saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin. Is this true, Mr. McGilded? Dear me, my lord, at the risk of repeating myself, I bore the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately. Okay, it's an outright lie. Let me stop you, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? Nee, hat er nicht. It is all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You do well to remember that. I saw you, with my own eyes. This is going so well. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one of us would have noticed?
Hold it!
Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark. Some kind of lark? Some kind of joke, he said. Is that what it is? Are you fair dinkum, sir? Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. Blah. Eyes would freeze shut and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella, but you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie, I saw you through the glass, you were talking to someone. Now, it was a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the code. It's hardly surprising. Seeing things? Seeing things? I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point. You. Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, blah blah. Capitalism. Tell you.
Hold it!
Proof. Müssen wir da einfach wirklich was präsenten? There's no hard evidence. Okay, I wonder, I wouldn't say, I mean, we know anything about them. Okay. Conclusive piece of evidence, yes. Okay. Speichern wir nochmal. Gucken dann auf die Beweislage. Okay, a report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner gives the cause of death as internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab into the abdomen. Well, died to the internal hemorrhaging resulting from the trauma. photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partly obscured from view by an old crooked head. Okay, der Knopf hier, das hat wahrscheinlich scheinbar keine Relevanz, hatte ich ja am Anfang gesagt. Bloodstain on the white glove. The omnibus. A largish knife that was found lodged in the victim's abdomen. Können wir hier die Connection machen mit ihm?
Objection!
Nein. It's clearly something odd about the last statement. Ich bin lost. Okay. Dann gehen wir all out auf dem letzten Statement, oder?
Objection!
Okay, nein. Der Autopsie-Report vielleicht.